I wonder if Lawrence would regard Shrek as real cinema today. Hey everybody, welcome to Mainely Movies. To kick off my coverage of the 2022 Toronto International Film Festival, today I'm going to be talking about the 2022 coming-of-age comedy drama, I Like Movies. If you're new here, please consider subscribing for a variety of movie-related content like reviews, rank lists, and trailer reactions. All of my reviews include a breakdown of the pros and cons, my rating, and some tailored film recommendations, so be sure to watch through to the end of this video for all of that extra content. I Like Movies stars Ateah, Lehtinen, Krista Bridges, and Romina, and was directed by Chandler Levack. Set in the early 2000s, it tells the story of teenage cinephile Lawrence, played by Ateah Lehtinen, who gets a job at the local video store in the hopes of paying for film school. I Like Movies is a very appropriate film to kick off my 2022 TIFF experience. Not only is it my first viewing and review of this year's festival, but it's also Toronto-based director Chandler Levack's feature-length debut. And if all that didn't make this fitting enough, this is a movie about loving movies set in a Toronto suburb. Could you get any more perfect for TIFF? Unsurprisingly, I Like Movies is a film about people who like movies. In fact, this is a film for film lovers. Anybody who considers themselves a cinephile or a movie buff is gonna really connect with this movie. It's packed with movie references and film discussion, so that's certainly part of the appeal, but this is a movie that focuses on a movie lover who lives and breathes film. Lawrence is a flawed character, and not a particularly likable one, but any film fan will be able to see aspects of themselves in him. Constantly recommending movies to people, needing to know who the director is and what year the film came out, feeling like your day isn't complete without having watched at least one movie. So it's a movie about movies, it's a movie about a movie lover, but perhaps most importantly, it's a movie about what movies mean to a film lover, because it's rarely just about entertainment. As I mentioned, I Like Movies centers on a character who not only likes movies, but loves them. Lawrence is a challenging character, though, to say the least. He's incredibly self-centered and obnoxiously pretentious with his passion for movies. He doesn't just love film, he loves making sure that everybody around him knows that he loves and understands film more than they ever will. So he frequently comes across as very abrasive and bratty and narcissistic, which can make it a little hard to root for him, especially towards the beginning of the movie. But stick with the film. As obnoxious and unlikable as he can be, there are reasons for everything that have some thematic significance. Some people will find Lawrence to be a more relatable or sympathetic character, while others will probably never consider him to be likable, but even at his most insufferable, he never goes so far as to no longer be a believable character. It's the kind of role that very easily could have veered into caricature territory, but the combination of Levack's writing and Lehtinen's performance keeps things grounded. Lawrence is the central character here, and likely the one that most film fan viewers will feel a kinship with, but this movie also has a few other believably crafted and performed characters. Most notably, Romina as Lawrence's boss, Alana, and Krista Bridges as Lawrence's mom. I think one of the best ways to describe I Like Movies is authentic. It's got the authenticity of the movie buff cinephile side down, but it also realistically captures life and relationships. Apart from some of Lawrence's more pretentious tirades, which work in the context of the film, the dialogue and interactions feel natural. The teenagers are appropriately awkward, there are uncomfortable emotional outbursts and fights, characters say things they don't mean to say, at least out loud, and everything doesn't always work out or neatly resolve. But it all feels real. It feels like these characters are real people. And the early 2000s setting is equally authentic feeling. Everything from the costumes to the video store nostalgia, to the abundant movie and pop culture references, to just the general look and feel of the film. The coming-of-age aspects of this movie are pretty universal, so I think this is a film that just about anybody will be able to find something in, but this is the type of movie that'll really speak to and connect with a specific subset of viewers, myself included. It's a relatable sort of slice of life story, has enough emotion and heart and seriousness to make you care about the characters, but also has a lot of subdued humor, thanks to the well-written dialogue and frequently amusing small situations. I Like Movies is a movie about a film fan, for film fans, by a film fan. Alright, let's talk about the pros and cons. Pro number one is the authenticity. So this kind of encompasses a lot of things. The characters and their relationships and interactions feel authentic and believable. The early 2000s setting feels very authentic and nostalgically recognizable. And even the film centricity of this movie feels authentic. It never comes across like it's making obscure or quirky film references just for the sake of packing in as many movies as possible. They feel relevant and chosen with care and precision. The second pro is the script. So I guess technically I could have included this in the first pro, because there's certainly a lot of authenticity to the writing, but I felt like it deserved to be highlighted on its own. For such a niche, personal type of story made for a very specific type of person, it's a remarkably universally relatable film. I think well-written coming-of-age movies tend to have that benefit, but this one not only tackles the emotional growing up side of things, but does so with a subtle, slightly offbeat sense of humor. There are a lot of really funny lines sprinkled throughout this movie. The comedy isn't so much joke-based as it is situational in nature, and it works for the story. On the con side, my only issues are really just minor nitpicks. There are a couple points during the runtime that kinda drag a little, so I think a few editing choices could have improved the pacing some, but for the most part, I thought it flowed well. The other thing I have to mention in the cons is just how obnoxious and abrasive Lawrence can be. Obviously, it's central to the story and his character arc and the themes, so that's why I'm only mentioning it as a minor nitpick, but he does become extremely difficult to root for or even be around at times. So it was worth mentioning here, especially since some people will find him borderline unbearable. Before I give you my rating and recommendations, I want to remind you that if you're interested in buying any of the films I mentioned today, I do have affiliate links for all of them in the description below. I get a small commission from anything you buy using one of my links, so I'd really appreciate it if you use them if you're in the market for any of these movies. I'm gonna give I Like Movies 4 out of 5 paws. This is a really well-written coming-of-age story that captures the early 2000s in a very nostalgic way, and manages to make a frequently unlikable character remarkably relatable to really any film fan. I would recommend I Like Movies to anybody who loves movies and considers themselves to be a cinephile or film fan. Not only is this film packed with movie references and discussion, and a lot of nostalgia for the video rental store era, but it focuses on a movie-loving character that I think a lot of movie fans will be able to see themselves in. If you liked I Like Movies, I would recommend Rushmore. This was Wes Anderson's second film, and is another coming-of-age comedy drama that focuses on an eccentric and often pretentious teenager, and features a lot of quirky humor and bizarrely comedic situations. If you're interested in another comedy about eccentric teens, you might want to check out Ghost World. This is another film that's probably best described as quirky, and features friendship problems and characters who can be fairly unlikable at times. And if you want another period coming-of-age film, you should watch Adventureland. Set in the late 80s, it focuses on a recent college grad who takes a summer job at a theme park. Alright, a couple questions for you guys. Number 1, have you seen I Like Movies? If so, what'd you think of it? And number 2, what do you miss most about video rental stores? Be sure to leave your answers in the comments below so we can get discussion going. Alright, so if you got some enjoyment, insight, or information out of this review, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that like button. And if you haven't done so already, please hit subscribe if you're at it to see more videos like this. Till next time, this has been Alyssa with Mainly Movies. The way life should be.